So hello everyone on YouTube and hello everyone on Twitch. In case you just joined, I will be talking a little bit about Tekken 7's netcode in this video, and this is mostly due to Harada suddenly approaching the topic on Twitter. It's been quite interesting actually to see what he has said, and the community response to it, because something weird seems to be going on, and this is where I'm going to need help from my dear Twitch viewers here. You can see the chat. They're going to have to fill in the blanks because I've just started reading up on netcode, delay-based netcode, and rollback netcode. And the latter seems to be a gift from God. It has been implemented in Skullgirls, which has incredible netcode and very little input delay, native input delay. That game is super responsive. I haven't even played it, but I've looked at the data and it seems incredibly responsive. And then from what I hear, Mortal Kombat 10, NetherRealm Studios actually released it with okay netcode or subpar, and then put a lot of resources into revamping the netcode and giving the game rollback. So apparently, correct me if I'm wrong, MK10 has rollback and MK11 was released with rollback, and Killer Instinct also has rollback. A very old game now. Killer Instinct was released years ago, right? So that's interesting to note when you take this, when you see this, where Harada, of course you know who that is, says, someone asked, they didn't because the game was made in 2014, and this was someone saying they didn't use rollback netcode because the game was made in 2014. Harada answers, no, in fact there is rollback. Everyone talks rollback without knowing it, but the difference is whether the rollback frame is 1 or 6. Tekken 7 is free. Increasing this number is more ideal, but causes problems with 3D animation. We're already working on this. So he says there is already rollback netcode in Tekken 7. Now, when I read up on rollback netcode and started familiarizing myself with the idea and the concept of it and understanding what it is, I've never witnessed anything resembling rollback netcode when I've played Tekken 7 online. And I've played a lot of Tekken 7 online. So I'm just going to try and explain what delay-based netcode is and what rollback netcode is. You can Google this. There are some great sources where you can read about the differences between them. Shoryuken.com was where I read up on it, and it had a really great explanation. But there are really good YouTube videos where you can see this as well. But basically, delay-based netcode, which is what Tekken 7 uses. Actually, you remember when Tekken 7 was released and on PlayStation 4 you had 8 frames of input lag? I think it was, at its worst, it was 8 frames of input lag. And you were like, why the hell would you release the game like this? I'm playing offline, it's not even online, and I press a button and it actually takes a substantial amount of time for the attack to come out. Why is there so much input lag compared to prior games? This is because of the netcode. This is because of the online feature. What they do is they make sure you offline has delay. You have delay offline so that when you play, did I say 90? I said 8 frames. So what they do is when you play online, to compensate for the lag, they remove the input lag on your opponent. You understand? You had 8 frames of input lag on PS4 to compensate for online lag. So I didn't even understand that at first, but it really makes sense when you hear it and when you understand what they were trying to do. So that's how it works when, it lags in Tekken and it feels like you press a button and the character waits, and it takes forever for the move to come out, the game is giving you additional delay and input lag, so that it can sync with your opponent. The attack you press and the attack is delayed, the game automatically delays the attack for you with a specific amount of frames to compensate for the lag on your opponent's end, so that the attack comes out at the same time for both of you on both of your screens. So that is what Tekken 7 and most fighters were doing. But what Rollback is that you have no input delay at all when you play online. You press a button, the attack comes out immediately, and it might hit your opponent like, ugh! But if there's a lot of lag, God, it's so hard to explain in a simple way. You attack, the attack comes out immediately, but there's a lot of lag, and the system has no idea what your opponent is doing due to the lag, so it guesses. It's like, oh, this must have connected. But then the signal comes back from the opponent saying, oh, he guarded, so the game will immediately adjust. So what looks like an attack connecting, suddenly the character teleports and he has sidestepped. Well, it didn't connect? No, he teleports away, or he guarded. Or you do an electric, you launch him, and you're like, I'm gonna do my combo, but then it readjusts. The opponent is standing guarding. So that jerkiness and teleportation, that's the sign of rollback. Something happens, and then the game rolls it back. No, you didn't get a launch. You didn't get a throw. Do you understand? That's the difference. But it's kind of hard to explain in a simple way. But this is mostly due to me just having read up on it. But so Harada says there's already rollback in Tekken 7, and I've never ever experienced anything resembling rollback in Tekken 7. All I have experienced is delay and slow motion and yeah. And of course input lag. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. And here and seeing, there's a great video if you go to YouTube and search for Tekken 7 network features. You have an expert on network latency or a netcode taking a look at Tekken 7, and it fares very poorly compared to many other fighting games. And he doesn't mention anything resembling rollback. All he talks about is delay-based netcode, which is what I just explained to you, giving you additional input lag and delay to compensate for lag, but that's not rollback. But I think Harada goes on to say that there's a blend of rollback and delay-based netcode. But yeah, if any more people could test this, I would love it, because I'd love to see what this is all about. Because I'm thinking Harada, of course, must know what rollback netcode is, being in his position. There's just no way he doesn't know about it. There might be a language barrier here where, you know, rollback, maybe it means something else to him. Maybe it's confused with delay. But when he gets as specific as mentioning the rollback frames, then it seems like he must know what he's talking about. But again, I've just never experienced anything that resembles rollback in Tekken 7. But what that might mean is that the rollback is very poorly implemented in Tekken 7. I think we can all agree that Tekken 7 doesn't work very well. The netcode just isn't very good when you compare it to KI and Skullgirls, where you can fight the US versus Japan, even on fucking Wi-Fi, and it's pretty damn playable from what I've seen on YouTube. And something else that is so interesting with all of this is that the game had 8 frames of input lag on PS4, and everyone was like, Why the hell do you have this much input lag? It makes it difficult in competitive play. JDCR said he didn't want to play Mishimas due to that input lag, favoring Dragunov. And the developers, rather than saying, because correct me if I'm wrong, they never went out and said that, oh, this is to compensate for online lag. I think they said something like, oh, it's a little bit tricky with the system or Unreal Engine. I don't remember what the explanation was. But you know, have you felt that online has gotten worse and worse? Online must have immediately felt much worse once they fixed the offline input lag. It went from 5 frames to 3 frames. And you must have immediately felt that when you went online. Because suddenly the game couldn't compensate anymore like it used to for online. So offline the game would be much more responsive, but you go online and it's like, oh, immediately the netcode feels that much more sluggish due to the removal of 5 compensation frames. 5 frames of delay. So it was just so interesting to read up on all of this because I didn't know anything about it, but that absolutely explains why online suddenly felt so much worse. Yeah, Rollback just seems way better. It's way more responsive. Rather than playing these, you know, underwater slow motion fights where you're underwater or it feels like you're on the moon, with Rollback, it's instantly responsive. But of course, if you're playing against someone who's super laggy, you'll be teleporting all over the place. But if it's like moderately laggy, like a free bar, it just seems to work that much better than delay-based netcode. It feels super responsive, and there's some adjustments here and there, but at least you're playing something that feels, you know, incredibly interactive. We want quick response. That's kind of where I am, at least. You know, it seems to be a thing of a past to slow down people, you know, to go click, press button, wait. That seems to be a thing of a past. It seems like Rollback is the way to go, at least from looking at Killer Instinct, Skullgirls, and Mortal Kombat. It really seems to be working well, so... But so who knows what this means? Is Rollback netcode just poorly implemented in Tekken 7? Does it have even Rollback? Like, again, I've just never ever seen that readjustment in Tekken 7. So, yeah, this is where I hope my YouTube section, the comment section, can help me out and give me additional information. Maybe the Twitch chat can as well. Or another expert looks at this, but I think we can all agree that the netcode could be way better in Tekken 7. Right now, I can't play anyone outside of Europe. I can play versus people in the US, but it's always a 2 or 3 bar. Asia, forget about it. Always a 1 bar, completely unplayable. But yeah, that's what I wanted to cover in this video, and apologies for stumbling a lot on my words. I'm just very new to this myself. But that's how it was explained to me, and I would advise you all to look up Rollback netcode and read up on it. It sounds extremely interesting, and properly implemented in Tekken 8 would be, you know, maybe something they really should do. Modernize Tekken, you know, not leave it in the dust. Modernize Tekken.